SSI Mantra.
It's a very important and a historical occasion for which we've all gathered here today. It's not just a momentous occasion for a company or a hospital or a doctor. It is a moment of pride for every Indian. Developed nations, or West, if I may call it, has had the access to best of the medical facilities for decades. But how does it sound that despite progressing in healthcare sector aggressively, despite being the top manufacturer and exporter of COVID vaccines globally, we are lagging way behind when it comes to advanced robotic surgery. For a population of 1.4 billion, there are less than 100 surgical robots in India. Being a journalist for 10 years myself, I've always been on the other side. But today, when I stand on this stage, I feel that we all are becoming a part of an occasion which will revolutionize the way surgeries are done in our country and in this part of the world. We are gathered today as Rajiv Gandhi Cancer Institute and Research Center, our national leader in cancer surgery, has acquired India's first indigenously produced surgical robot system, SSI Mantra. SSI Mantra is India's very own surgical robot, the first of its kind falling under the Make in India initiative, which will prove to be the most cost-effective solution for patients, making available the latest technologies and surgical treatments for all. Today, we have many esteemed medical professionals with us, as it is a proud moment for India that such a technology and cost-effective system has been made in our very own country for the world. And the first system has been placed at one of the most distinguished cancer hospitals in the country. Without taking more of your time, I would like to welcome Dr. Vishwajyoti Srivastava, President and Chief Operating Officer of Sudhir Srivastava Innovations Private Limited, for the welcome address. Dr. Vishwa.
Thank you, Shruti. So good morning, everyone. First, I'd like to take a moment to welcome all the members of the press who joined us today on this very momentous occasion. I'd also like to thank the distinguished surgeons who are seated at this table here for their continued contribution, to the advancement of healthcare across the country and globally. And lastly, I'd like to thank our team, our engineering team from SS Innovations, who are some of the most inspiring people I've ever, had the pleasure of meeting in my life. They work tirelessly and they've developed a very sophisticated system which ultimately will benefit many more patients, not only in India, but throughout the world. I'll take just a quick moment to tell a short story. So I was in the US, did my medicine there. I was offered this position as President and Chief Operating Officer of SS Innovations. And as I remembered, and I was debating this, I was in a dilemma. And I said, should I stay in the US and practice and treat one patient at a time, or seize the opportunity to help in the development of a system which can effectuate more positive change, not only in India, but across the world. See, now when it comes to robotic surgery, it's a wonderful technology. Obviously, it's much better to have surgery done through small, tiny incisions than to have large incisions done, longer recovery, more trauma for the patients, increased blood loss, and ultimately the patient, although they come to the doctors to become better, but then they also suffer in the recovery process. Now, with the advent of robotic surgery, it offered a great solution for the patients, where complex operations could be done through these tiny holes and patients would recover much faster. Now, faced with this choice, I thought that, every doctor, they study for many years, ultimately to help a patient and help them become better. So now how to effectuate more change so you can reach more people. So I decided to take this opportunity to join SS Innovations in this very ambitious project. And after many years of tireless nights and weekends and working. I'm very proud to say that we've arrived at this SSI Mantra system, and we're very excited that the first installation will be at Rajiv Gandhi, and no better place because it's such a wonderful hospital, excellent surgeons, and a very caring healthcare professional staff. And I'm very, very honored that the system will be going there. So with that, I welcome all of you, and please enjoy.
Thank you so much, Dr. Vishwa. Moving next, we have Dr. Sudhir Rawal with us, who is one of the leading uro-oncology surgeons in India, with special interest in robotic surgery. He has more than 30 years of experience in genitourinary oncosurgery. Dr. Rawal is one of the finest robotic surgeons in the country, having performed more than 4,000 surgical procedures. He is presently serving as the Medical Director and Chief of Urogynae Surgical Oncology at Rajiv Gandhi Cancer Institute and Research Center, New Delhi. I would like to invite him to share his journey in this medical revolution and how has been his experience with SSI Mantra.
Thank you and good morning, everyone. As you know, this country had been the pharmacy of world, rather it is the pharmacy of the world. We make best medicine and they are exported to everywhere in world, not only in East Africa or South America, they go to US and West Europe also. But we do lag behind in the medical equipment field, very badly rather. Though we could survive with the pandemic, having our own vaccine, and medical equipment, somehow we have not been able to make even CT and MRI so far. And when I sit in my hospital on the negotiation of MRI or CT scan, even radiotherapy machine, which costs us 25 crores or 20 crores and like this, then I always feel that if we have something from our country, that will be the best. But it is not happening in that field so far. I know that somewhere they have made MRI, but it is not in the market. Now coming to robotic field, there are already many companies, but the one company which actually has ruled this field for the last 22 years is Intuitive single-handedly. It's like a monopoly. Though there are CMR, Medtronics, SSI, Senences and others, but they have not made much difference in the market because they have their own pitfalls, which is not acceptable, especially in India. Sometimes the robot is not good, and sometimes it is okay, then it's very costly again. But SSI actually is that Mantra robot, where I have involved in 2 trials already. We have done almost 26 cases, 18 from one and 8 from another one, and this is the 3rd model which they have got, and we have bought this model. We have actually purchased it, and we are starting our surgery maybe tomorrow or maybe next Tuesday. Whenever the robot comes to the operation theater, it is there in the hospital already. And this is the one which actually will be game changer, and it is not, I am telling because I am using it and I know that the way they have made it and the cost and everything they have put. I was in a robotic workshop in Nadyad near Ahmedabad, and I operated from Ahmedabad from SSI XI robot. At that time they were talking about new robots, and everybody was saying that hopefully this SSI Mantra will be the game changer, not only for India, and it will be for the whole of the world when actually this company grows. Problem with other robots is there is a capital cost involved, there is a running cost, which actually defer a lot of doctors to buy the robot, even use the robot, and they have huge CMC, and that is why many hospitals, those who are big hospital and there is not much volume, they'll end up in paying only the parking charges for that robot. So this is the problem with these robots, and that is why there is always a place, there was a vacuum, there was a need for having a robot which Mantra is going to fill this thing. I have used this robot. This is very surgeons friendly. It has got almost same features what Intuitive has. Some features are extra over Intuitive because it has got separate arms, and there is an open console where you need not to lean onto the console, which actually makes your back very bad. Sometimes you have backache like anything. I have to use 2 or 3 pillows on my back when I operate with that, especially when I do long surgery. So I'm happy and I'm proud of having this first robot in our hospital, and hopefully in future when it is talked that what happened with SSI, the history, then probably we will be the first one in the history that this was the hospital and these were the people who got involved, and they made a really, they created a history not only in India but rather all over the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rawal. All this really swells our heart with a lot of pride. After hearing so much about Made in India SSI Mantra, I am sure you all would like to understand how exactly does it work and what all has gone into creating it. We would like to take you through the journey of SSI Mantra through a short video presentation.
For centuries, humans have been fascinated by the idea of improvement. A healthier body, a clearer mind, and a better world. That's why we embrace new innovations and technology. Technology that makes it possible to extend our capabilities beyond our imagination. Innovations that can create a revolution in our healthcare. And one such innovation has been the advancement of robotic surgery in surgical procedures, opening up a world of unending possibilities and enhanced medical care available to one and all. Introducing SSI Mantra, a brand new chapter in the surgical robotic system that's poised for a big stride in improving global healthcare. Developed in sync with India's clarion call of Make in India, SSI Mantra's 3D vision, instrumental precision, and advanced indigenous technology is all set to herald the future of surgery in the Indian subcontinent and across the globe.
Mantra is a Sanskrit word which means power. Entire mantra system has been developed by a team in India, made in India for the world.
This project is unique because first of all it is purely Make in India. Our team and our mentors and the guidance, Dr. Sri Srivastava, we all have done every single design and development very precisely and with perfection in-house and as in Make in India initiative. This will lead to a product which will revolutionize in Indian market and medical industry.
SS Innovations also has been privileged to be associated with some of the world's most renowned robotic scientists who have contributed their wealth of knowledge to this visionary journey.
When I developed the instruments for intuitive surgical, 25 years ago, I had one regret, and that was that the system wasn't priced in a way that people all over the world could get the benefits of robotic surgery. I've known Dr. Srivastava for 10 years. He's doing something that I believe is very important, and that's bringing robotic surgery to the rest of the world at a price that is reasonable. I am really impressed that he's been able to do this. There's nobody else who's been able to do it so far.
Witness a revolution in robotic surgery that has an edge over traditional surgery. Thanks to the Mantra surgical robotic system, there is lesser trauma, faster recovery, and a quicker return to functional status.
Patient has less pain, better quality of life, fastest recovery. ERA's protocol goes very well with robotic surgery. Early discharge, better clinical outcomes in many surgical procedures, least pain. So you're back to your work quickly with your family, not spend your unnecessary time in the hospital.
The surgery where the patient used to get admitted for 2 weeks, now the patient goes in 2 to 3 days, not more than 4 days.
With over 10 million robotic procedures and counting, the world has come a long way from being in awe of robotic surgery to embracing it with open arms.
SSI Mantra is the robot I was mentioning earlier, and I am very happy to be associated with Dr. Sudhir Srivastava. I have met him, I have seen the prototype, and I have done a test drive on that. I am very impressed by the technology.
Although India has had a long tryst with atomic energy, space science, and defense systems, robotic surgery has not seen the same growth levels in India as compared to the rest of the world.
We know that in India there are only about 70 to 90 functioning robotic systems for a huge population of 1.2 billion, which means 0.3% of the only patients undergo robotic surgery.
So what that means is that hospitals do not have access, doctors do not have access, and ultimately it translated that the patients in India just could not get the same level of care because of the expense.
With a ballooning population of almost 1.4 billion, India has 70,000 hospitals, but it has less than 100 robotic systems. That accounts for less than 1% of the global procedures performed annually.
So we should move towards an affordable make in India, made in India, Indian solution for Indian problem robot, high quality, affordable, both to acquire, to maintain running cost, yet it can do minimal access surgery for all the patients in second tier city, in moderate skillful people, beginners to proficient surgeons, all walks of life in all center.
There is a huge gap, and SSI Mantra is all set to change that forever. A brainchild of Dr. Sudhir Srivastava, who is one of the original pioneers in robotic cardiac surgery. Since the inception of SS innovations in India, many prestigious awards have been given for their dedicated efforts in this ambitious project. SSI Mantra is a carefully crafted machine, inspired by a surgeon himself, walking on the path to change India's healthcare landscape and inching closer towards realizing the grand dream of a healthy nation and a healthy world. All set to create a technologically advanced system at an affordable price, Dr. Srivastava firmly believes that gold standard healthcare should be a right for all, not just rich economies and wealthy individuals. Combining cutting-edge technology with a team of highly driven experts, SSI Mantra is all set to provide surgeons with the power to triumph over complex procedures with unprecedented success. As an adjustable multi-arm system, Mantra is capable of complex operations with a true HD resolution and a live 3D feed magnified up to 10 times. Filtering unwanted tremors and scaling fine movements, SSI Mantra allows precise surgery, with instruments acting as an extension of the surgeon's hands.
At SSI, we are very lucky that we have a clinical expertise led by Dr. Sudhir Srivastava and a team of knowledgeable engineers on the other side. Both clinical and engineering team came together and we built a sophisticated system with absolute precision. And we also ensure that this system should be a fail-safe during its operation.
Created with the futuristic vision to decentralize excellence and making it accessible to people everywhere. SSI Mantra is built with an eye for the future, and it opens a world of possibilities for all surgical subspecialties, including cardiac surgery. With the ever-changing pace of communication, SSI Mantra looks to broaden its horizons with telesurgery, telediagnosis, and targeted therapies, along with remote training of surgeons.
In the future, everything is virtual, and SSI Maya is the perfect example of a blend between the metaverse, the engineering technologies, and medical sciences to bring patients the ultimate healthcare that surgeons can provide.
The learning curve of the robot is much less. So one can teach robotic surgery much faster than one could teach laparoscopic and open surgery, because the skills acquisition is much faster.
I think in future this machine is going to be into, not only it will change the scene of robotic surgery in India, but I think it is abroad also.
With this truly Make in India marvel, SSI Mantra can serve as a model to the developing economies and other parts of the world. It's a confluence of universal and technological advantages like never before.
Being a young engineer and having completed my studies in mechatronics field, I take complete pride to work on this ambitious project, which is very much cost effective. Not only India but across the whole world, patients would benefit from SSI Mantra robotic surgical system.
SSI Mantra is not just a medical revolution, it's an evolution in healthcare. It's time to look beyond the limitations and achieve what's possible. A march for perfection that calls for greater strides in humanity. Come, let's join forces for a revolution in robotic surgery with a human touch. SSI Mantra, revolutionizing robotic surgery by SS Innovations.
Wow, I'm sure it looked as exciting to all of you as it seemed to me, and a lot of effort has gone into creating this master machine. SSI Mantra is a brainchild of Dr. Sudhir Srivastava, who is a world-renowned robotic cardiac surgeon and is fondly known as RoboDoctor. Dr. Sudhir Srivastava is originally from Jodhpur and went to United States and Canada for his postgraduate training in general and cardiothoracic surgery. He is globally recognized as one of the pioneers in robotic cardiac surgery. Until date, he has performed over 1,400 robotic cardiothoracic procedures and the largest number of robotic heart bypass surgeries on a beating heart. He was the first surgeon to do a robotic surgery in India in 2002. He has received numerous awards, including Entrepreneur of the Year in West Texas and Lifetime Achievement Award by Indian Society of Minimally Invasive Cardiothoracic Surgery. Recognizing the huge benefits of robotic surgery to patients as well as the prohibitive factors of cost, Dr. Srivastava undertook the calling to develop an indigenous and cost-effective platform that would help give access to many more patients in need of minimally invasive surgical options. He often says that healthcare is a right and not privilege for just the rich economies and the wealthy individuals. Together with his team, Dr. Srivastava led the development of the SSI Mantra surgical robotic system, India's first indigenous robotic surgery system. Sir, I would now request you to address the gathering, please.
Thanks, Shruti. And thank you, everyone, for gathering here. Truly, it's a proud, also an emotional moment to finally see this thing come through, and it's in a hospital. I want to welcome Dr. Raval, Dr. Soma Shekhar, and Dr. Arun Prasad here. And I want to thank the entire team, literally, for what you guys have accomplished. And my family for putting up a lot of tough times. The journey of innovation and entrepreneurship is not easy. These projects take up a lot of money. Some people talk of you need at least $200 million. I didn't have that. So having lived in US for a long time, I decided to move to India, initially to launch robotic programs, because I really wanted to see this thing beyond me, and we can teach more people. So I moved to India in 2011 and realized very quickly that although a wonderful technology, but our patients just couldn't afford. Even a few 100,000 rupees that you translate into dollars is nothing, but it is a lot of money. And I remember I get this question asked all the time. From being a heart surgeon and a robotic surgeon and having lived in US, first, why did you come to India? Answer is very simple, the love for motherland. Then there was a turning point. I had a patient, a 23-year-old young lady who had hole between the two chambers of the heart. She was a perfect candidate for robotic surgery, except they didn't have money. The brother brought her and mentioned that if she had a scar in front of the chest, that's how most heart surgeries are done, even today, that she will never get married. And he said, I'll try to raise money. We offered our services free. Hospital wanted to charge. A month later, he called me. He was still struggling. Then I didn't hear from him. And I tell you, it pained. I used to talk to Intuitive, as Dr. Raval has mentioned, enjoyed Monopoly. Why don't you guys make a system that will be affordable for so many patients in the world? Because almost 90% of the Da Vinci robotic systems are between United States, Europe, and Japan. And that means only 10% for a population of 6 billion people. With our population now of 1.4 billion, as has been pointed out, we have less than 100 systems. Just imagine we have 70,000 hospitals in the country. And some hospitals have multiple. So it's not even 100 hospitals today. And that means our doctors who really want to advance in technologies, patients who want minimally invasive surgery, who will like a long, big incision, long recoveries? No one, except it's not available. So we wanted to really address that. And then passion, and I actually came to India. Can I advance this from here? It's not working. It's working. So in 2002, I came, Dr. Naresh Ryan is a good friend of mine. We had built a hospital in Texas and launched robotic programs, so he had come and seen. And so he purchased the first robot in the country back then. And President Abdul Kalamji, actually, there was an inauguration, and he was in the room. And he was pretty intrigued, watched surgery for about 10 minutes, chit-chatted about the technology. And so since then, I trained a lot of people from India. And then invitation came, and finally I said, enough living in the United States, it's time to come back and serve the country. So this is what really drove me. And if you look at the landscape of robotic surgery, as I mentioned, it is truly economy-centric and country-specific. And we have less than 1% penetration. Considering very advanced technologies, as you saw in the movies, that we have the talent, but somehow we have not invested in medical world. We can do it and hope that what we have done will inspire others and wake up the government to invest heavily, because we have seen the effects of global pandemic, for instance. It just shut everything down. On one side we say make in India, Atmanirbhar Bharat. The only way we can do it, we start doing it here. In many ways, not just medical industry, but the components, we still end up importing things from outside. And it's very crucial that I think our leaders and they start to invest. This is what is expected globally. If you can see, in the next literally 8 years from now, the number of procedures will double up. And if we don't offer something that is affordable, so it's not just India's problem. If you just look at so many countries in the world. Africa hardly has few systems. Many countries have none. And we can change that. And so this is what has been kind of driving me. The system is very expensive, as you can see from here, anywhere between 11 to 20 crores. I sometimes wonder how the hospitals actually recover the cost of such expensive capital expense, plus procedure costs and maintenance contracts, as Dr. Rabal calls it, the parking fee. So the vision was to create a system that will be technologically more advanced, hopefully better, but at the same time, what I wanted to achieve for it to be cost effective. So I'll take you through a few slides just to describe our technology. As Dr. Rabal pointed out, it's an open-faced console. So instead of sitting hunched over, you get to sit straight. There's a head tracking camera on the top, which essentially is a safety feature. So if you're not looking at the monitor, even if your hands move, you cannot operate. Then there's a large 32-inch monitor. We as surgeons know that higher the magnification, bigger the view, more precisely we can do these tasks. And just like a watchmaker will have a little magnifying loop so that they can see little parts. So it's very crucial to have our hand controls also are very ergonomic. One other thing that I should point out, so our system is prepared right from the beginning for 5 arms. So we can use, because of the modularity, anywhere from 3, 4, or 5 arms. To my knowledge, no other company can put 5 arms. And we are developing and have developed certain enabling automated technologies that 5th arm will be needed. And so the whole idea is to utilize the technology which helps you overcome sometimes human limitations. Oh, see, technology sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. So our vision card, the other thing that we wanted to give right from the beginning to everyone in the room, operating, assisting team, as well as the trainees or visitors, see the same view exactly as a surgeon. So we have given large 3D monitor. So what it does, it translates into safety, efficiency, it reduces the learning curve, and ultimately better quality outcomes. Because with the 2D, you cannot see how far are you going. Accidents occur, but sometimes we have kind of figured out how to deal with it, and a lot of times it doesn't get reported. We have also partnered with Olympus camera, which has a articulating tip. So normally in robotic surgery or other endoscopic surgeries, you need 2 types of endoscope, a 0 degree and a 30 degree. This literally gives a circular view. And so you don't need actually 2 endoscopes, so it reduces the cost and gives you better actually access to the vision. Our team has remarkably developed this preoperative planning through software, whereby we literally choose from the menu what procedure, and then this thing pops up on the larger screen and gives guidance to the nurses, to the surgeons, where potentially you should make the ports or the incisions, where to place the cards, what's the optimum position for this thing. And with development that we are moving forward, a lot of these things will be literally done automatically in relation to what has been described with use of metaverse. We have over 30 different types of instruments. And since cardiac surgery is kind of given up in the robotic world today, cardiac surgery is very high risk, very challenging, requires a lot of commitment and special advanced skills. So people just aren't doing so. What I wanted to do, because in other specialties, you still have options of laparoscopic or endoscopic surgery. In cardiac, almost 99% patients today have their sternums split open. It's good for the surgeon, not for the patient. 2-3 months of recovery, some people cannot get back to work for up to a year. Or if your wires break, you start again all over. So this option, and with my personal experience and wonderful advisory board of global leaders of who's who, we really are focusing on reviving the cardiac surgery field. And by the way, the Da Vinci system originally was made for bypass surgery. And there is a saying that it started at heart and landed on prostate. So urology basically saved the day. And this is our crown jewel. So we have developed this automated anastomotic technology. Anastomosis is basically joining two things together. So in this one, for coronary bypass surgery, instead of manually sewing, where you really need very steady hands, and you can cause a heart attack if you don't do it correctly. So we have developed this technology which will have both the open version as well as robotic version. So this, literally you can do bypass surgery by inserting in 6 seconds you're done. And it is reproducible. So I think this is going to literally revolutionize the field of bypass surgery. And we have another technology which is called multi-5 clip applier. Again, no other company has it. And this really facilitates the procedures where you don't have to take the instruments out and reload, and makes it more efficient. And this is really, I tell you, we're proud of some young engineers. We're really pushing the envelope for metaverse. We have recreated Dr. Rawal's operating room. He doesn't know that. So we can guide from wherever, the nurses, where to place the cars, where to set up, all of these things. And then also we have software whereby a regular CT or an MRI or a 3D image can be converted on the fly into a hologram. And this hologram can be superimposed in the operative field on the screen. And this will, I tell you, make the procedures much safer, give you every detail of that particular patient's anatomy. And it will make it more efficient because we know exactly where things are. There's some pictures from our earlier trials, and Dr. Rawal has been very gracious, and I cannot admire him enough for his commitment to help us because, see, although I could operate, but it does not look good. We needed a very talented surgeon, and I met him back in 2019, and since then we've become very good friends, someone who trusts us, and who is in the lab, a frequent visitor, constantly guiding our team. So thank you. And this is again pictures of their trial. And I want to point out the lower picture in the right. Dr. Amitabh, Dr. Rawal's junior associate. Dr. Rawal came and it took him 10 minutes to learn our system. Dr. Arun Prasad mentioned about the learning curve. So Dr. Amitabh actually never even came to our lab. No training. While the patient was getting ready in this last trial, Dr. Amitabh sat down on the machine and literally played with it for 5 minutes. And then later he did parts of the procedure. And that kind of tells you the user-friendliness, the ease to learn, and to be able to effectively carry out the surgical task very precisely. And these are some of our timelines. We have gone through a whole lot of things. And the main thing right now, we are registered with the Indian regulatory body, CDSCO. We have 13485 certification, which is required for the medical devices. And then this year, we are planning to initiate application for the European, as well as the United States FDA approvals. And market launch has occurred, and this is a formal announcement that, yes, it is launched. And then we will go to other countries. I want to point out, and please understand this is not to put any other company down. It is just to give you a matter-of-fact comparison. And these are the numbers that we have received from sources within India. And as you can see, the Mantra system is literally half the price as compared to a refurbished model from Intuitive Surgical, and 1/3 that of the top model, with similar performance. I will give a quote of Dr. Somashekar when he had come to test our system. He said, "Sudhir, you have not compromised the quality. You have added more and better features with similar performance at 1/3 the cost." And we have achieved it. And same thing. per procedure cost also will be very affordable, very close to laparoscopic surgery. Same thing with the maintenance cost, literally half that of other systems. And we are providing 3 years of free coverage. Our goal is to really make it used as much as possible by as many surgeons as possible and many, many more patients, because the barrier of cost is gone. Oops. So where we are today, we have completed the development. We now have transitioned from the development phase into commercializing phase. And we have intellectual property portfolio, about 170 filings, 56 have been granted. And we have done 2 clinical trials, as Dr. Raval has pointed out. And every week we are getting a stream of surgeons coming to test our system. And hopefully, I think in the times to come, things will change. And this just shows pictorially, we are also certified for Make in India, which does allow us certain preference in the government institutions, hospitals, railway, army, etc. Goal is to decentralize excellence. So we have some single-arm application that we are also working on, whereby ultrasound can be done completely remotely controlled from wherever. So patients don't have to travel. Biggest issue with cancer is late diagnosis and detection. So if we can make these services available, we will change the scene of cancer. Same way we can actually treat those cancers locally with ablation therapies. Sitting again here, using artificial intelligence and machine learning, it will absolutely change the field as we move forward. And we are going to be doing telesurgery. We are partnered with Airtel, and we'll be testing it soon. I think we have talked about India's opportunity. I think it will help the country tremendously that in the medical field, we could actually make such a sophisticated, complex technology. And I tell you, when I work with engineers, truly it's a humbling experience. As a surgeon, when I operated, we just sat on the machine, it worked, and that was it. Now I know what all different things that go in, 2,700 various hardware parts with complex electronics that are designed by our teams, and final software integration, for it to all work in sync and very precisely for us to do what we call teleoperation with the robotic system. So medical tourism can be tremendously helped with this thing. And I share this picture, what's really driving me constantly. An 80-year-old man, I operated, I think, in 2012, and did 2 bypasses with the robotic system. Went home in 2 days. A week later, this 80-year-old farmer from Haryana is back on his farm. And that is what really is so important. The only reason patient comes to us, so they can go back to their lifestyle after getting better. And I tell you, this will change the direction of medicine in future. Thank you to my young team here. And Jai Hind.
So I need to introduce Dr. Somashekar SP. Dr. Somashekar, who is also one of the busiest robotic surgeons in the country and has done around 3,000 robotic surgery procedures. He's presently serving as the chairman and HOD Surgical Oncology at Manipal Comprehensive Cancer Center in Bangalore. Dr. Somashekar is deeply involved in teaching, training, proctoring, and has been constantly helping in launching robotic programs. He's a frequent invited speaker at national and global conferences. Dr. Somashekar, can we have you on stage, please?
Thank you very much. I'm actually overwhelmed and honored to be able to share place time. You know, I'll tell you, as a human being, you get associated with certain things out of your obligation because you're in that field. there are some place and time you associate it, because I always believe in life there are two types of people, one who believe in revolution and evolution. Evolution is you believe in Darwin's theory. Slowly let natural course happen, let me sail through that. One day monkey will become human being, Darwin's theory. I have never seen any monkey becoming human beings. There are second type of people who are called revolutionists. You can see a moon, call your girlfriend, wife, arrange a candlelight dinner, clap your hand and do. Or you can see that moon and decide, I'm going to set my foot on that moon. Take my word, the people who are revolutionists, who fall into certain category, are the one who burn themselves, their time, their family life, their personal passion to make history in the mankind. And these revolutionaries don't come every time. You take great people in the history, few, they blink, they change the whole course of history. Revolutionists are the one who burn their personal thing to lead everything. When your passion, your hobby, and your truth, profession, all three becomes together, that is what you see in Srivatsa, sir. The way I liked and got associated with is, you know that all doctors are extremely busy. You know that the field of health system for doctors and surgeons, overworked, underpaid. But the passion, like Dr. Raval, everybody compensate for any reward. No other field is overworked, underpaid than surgeons. But it is the passion which drives, not the money. Money or the name is the accessory which tags on like an engine is going and the bogies keep coming. In such a field, you have no time for you and your family and you want to associate with people like Srivastav. It is the passion. Understanding the revolutionize. I got really hooked on to him. With one wow, I understood the sincerity behind this. Remember, in this world today, people have an idea, put somebody else's money, takes it, succeeds, you go on. Otherwise, somebody else burns, you move on, right? That is what you see now in all startups and do. But very rarely people will use their own personal wealth to put there. That shows how much you actually believe in this concept. And that is what really made me great impressed. He is a person, most successful surgeon in the world. Most difficult field in cardiothoracic. Put his own money where he don't have to put it. Who would put it? I would love to borrow somebody's money, my idea, and see if I succeed. But he put it. And very sincere and ethical to the core. I really felt such people in your lifetime you rarely meet. Just to be associated with their thing. If you start something with great idea, truthfulness, what you believe, rarely you would not succeed. There may be a small lag, but when you succeed, it explodes. That is what actually brought into me, like me, Dr. Raval, all of us, more than 12 years have been robotic surgeon, because 2 decades before we have been open surgeon, more so in a dreaded disease called cancer, where the treatment is considered more dangerous than the disease. So people are scared to come. 2 months they would cut through me, they'll make me lie down, what you want? You know, I remembered an era where when I got trained in US and UK, maximum tolerable treatment. Now we know minimum effective treatment. So we understood the importance of MIS. But unfortunately, we are not innovators. We have no luxury to burn our life, second life. We have only one lifetime to do that. So we took whatever is available and always, every day we operate, we had it in our mind. For every patient who is a minimal access, there are 10 patients I declined because of money, not able to afford, not available technology. And we always thought it is crime, unethical not to offer a minimal access to an eligible patient. And this was always there. And I used to wonder why Dr. Raval, sir, you know, he's a great surgeon, acclaimed worldwide, very busy. How did he get time to get associated? I understand only a passion towards patient of this. So you can create history being a revolutionist or follow a revolutionist and try to get 1.1%. You know, they always say, Dhritarashtra went straight to heaven. How did he go? There was a small dog who was Narayana who followed. So you can follow somebody and reach there. And it's very... So I have few slides to tell, you know, how actually we could actually get it. So can you just change? Yeah. What we actually... Next slide, yeah. What we actually found is, this is what we all started for all the people who are not doctor. Even today, you ask a patient of complex surgery, they say, no, treatment is more dangerous. I'm not going to get into the clutches of surgeon. This is what we used to do. Next slide. Then we actually went off to understand that this is not the way that you have to do. there is a paradigm shift that happened in the entire computer generation that happened. Next. This is what I call the tip of surgical excellency. A revolution versus evolution. You want to be there, set a foot on moon or do. That is when, next slide. That is when we actually came down to understand minuscule amount of people eligible in India we are affording. Forget world. Let world West look at, let other people look at them. We will look at it. This is an era where the whole world is looking to India. It is not East look West, West is looking. So when you look back what happened in India, where you could afford next, this is what is the figure. Very sad. For a large country like us, if only about 500 trained people and 50,000 procedure where millions are done, there is something inherently not right or not run, and it is extremely sad for us to do this. Next. So these are the main procedures which are done since there is an installation that has happened. But then we could understand there is some inherent problem in that. Can you have the next slide? Yeah. The evolution, we all joined this bandwagon at around 2010, Dr. Raval and all of us. We all thought this is only for urology. Can you imagine the curve below are the most eligible patients? They'd never ascend up there because the entire cost of the treatment, I'm not telling surgery, entire cost of treatment is less than the current cost of one robotic procedure. And mind you, these are the patients who should come up. Every time we watch our curve, we feel very sad why most eligible are not affording. There is something wrong in that. Next. So the patient, next slide, the patient landscape is this. For every one case we offer, there is a 30 in my hospital who are declined. So there is something seriously wrong happening in this area. Next. At all the places, we are missing an access to a patient. Why? Only because there is no money with them. Or the hospitals are not taking that. Next. This is something which is very important. Large number of iPhones in the world. Where are they? India and China. And we call so-called poor countries. What is this? Inherently, there is something wrong. One shot, 100 orders for Mercedes-Benz was placed in India. Do you know that, all of you? All of you know that in Surat. One day, 100, one team, 100 Mercedes-Benz. Even in US, you can't afford. So, we are okay for all this. Non-essential life things. They're non-essential, right? What is most essential? Air, water, some food. But, so never ever call that India has no, it's a very, very bipolar. When we want, we can get everything. When we don't want, we crib the most in the world. So there is something wrong that's happening. Next. So, this is the current. We see here, oh, this many surgeries only available. You want it in, but oh, this is all we see. These are all the patient available for minimal access. Next slide. This is what we are missing, which Titanic missed and sunk. So we don't want to be there, right? Next. Who is going to address below this? Everybody want to take the cream, want to take malai, kali malai leke jana hai. Who is going to take these people? You lift these people. How do you miniaturize, make a new tools? And how do you get the new generation and how do you equip? Not just India. Even in US, for every surgery done, there are many patients who are not affording. You know that the healthcare don't get rosy that it's best there. People who work like us know what are the do's and cons. Next. I use these 2 slides. I was invited for an oration in Australia. We developed a very small AI device for breast cancer screening, very cheap. Everybody, oh, very cost, low cost. Because people think low cost means not good. That's the Indian mentality. You go to a shop, most costly dress, you presume it is the best. That is an answer came from India. We know that we are the first people reached on moon with just a cost of an auto rickshaw reaching from here to our place. But not compromising the quality. That's not what is. So we did everything best. Next. So when we, next slide. So next slide. Yeah, next slide. Next. This already Srivastava showed. Next. So how do we change the dynamics of doing just this many trained surgeons with this in India to what we should actually do? We have an obligation to society. Next. So this is the surgeries. Next slide. Okay, put the cow. So if you see that the moment good robots start coming in the world, all the curves will ascend for all the specialities that they need. The most beneficial specialty would be thorax, head and neck, which you are missing. Next. So this is what is happening. Next. These are all the specialties which has to be included. Next. Next. So now inherently in India, cash patients, insurance don't approve. The entire cost of the treatment includes one cost of the robotic existing. Next. So we launched 104 satellite in one. I remember I was giving a oration in San Antonio, and they were shocked. What they use one rocket one time for one satellite, we use 104 satellites. So if we are this, this is the Mars mission which we reached, but we failed to serve our own humanity, which is healthcare. After the three essential life, air, water, food, this is the most essential thing for us. We never concentrated on this. Next. So cheap doesn't mean low quality. Remove that in your mind, which is inherently in there for us. Next. So cheap, it doesn't mean that. Next. So that is where the solution came. What I got impressed when I checked this, I have operated on about 8 systems in the world available in robotic, been part of research development of 3 of them. What actually impressed with me is, people think cost cut, it's an inversion seesaw. Want to reduce the cost, quality is out. You want to increase the cost is very expensive. Very difficult to find the right balance. What impressed me is, everybody think made in India, low cost. No. First, as a clinician, if that patient is my family, my mother, sister, would I make it safe? How to make it safe? Highest quality, not compromising. What I loved about this is, the quality is so good today, and the potential to improve upon the best system. You compare with the other robot. You have a system which is 3 decades, there is something which started now. If you can speak that this is close to a 3 decade, look where it would be after 5 years. If the base of the quality, what I loved is quality not compromised. Added more, yet brought out the money. That is not possible. Take my word, very few people in life can achieve only with the technological innovation. Next. This is what I really loved when I checked this. Next. I will leave you with this. We always think that, boat is sinking. Oh, lucky, that hole is not on my side. I'm safe. Why should I worry? People have enjoyed. What are we reaping today? Done by people who never could see the light of the day. Very beautiful statement by our Mahatma. The future depends on what we do present. Please don't look, oh, today I do, it will take 3 decades. We are reaping what others did. This is a part to be of it. This is what made me, Raval, all our clinicians join hands with this superb event. If you all go and see how it performs, mark my word, just give another 3 to 5 years. You don't even have to speak about the system. The system would speak for itself. They always say, kasturi, the smell, you don't have to show it. You just hide inside in a corner, it will show itself. I am sure because of the quality, affordability, making it reach everybody, and I can conceive as a clinician working so many years, it has got the right ingredients and not a greedy man behind it who want to make money on that. That's a beautiful thing. Thank you.
Okay, so now we have Dr. Arun Prasad with us. Sir, please.
Thanks, and very well said, Som. You've really put the nail on its head. And I was going to talk a little bit about the costing as to why the world needs a cheaper robot. So what has started off with one company which has been dominating the scenario for robotic surgery for more than 2 decades, it is crucial that we need to understand that the costing monopoly can only be broken down by competition. So we've had 2 problems. One is that one company decides the cost and users have very little say in the matter. So you have to start from the first slide. No? And secondly, there is a problem as to, okay. Yes, the second problem is that whenever we as surgeons have to give any feedback, there is very little say we have. So we have faced and struggled with certain parts of the robotic surgery, which whenever there is a monopoly, nobody is there to hear. With our SSI robot, the biggest advantage is that it's been developed by a surgeon. So what we can see here is that despite its cost demand for robotic surgery, the demand for surgery is at an all-time high. And while Da Vinci's role in improving minimally invasive surgery has led to substantial growth. This requires a large investment capital. And are you shifting or can I do? How do I move? Yeah, this works. Right. So this I'll skip basically because it talks about the robot, as I think we are running short of time. Small history there. This was a video, we'll skip this. Can I? Yeah, we can move on. Again, we can move on from there. These are some of the benefits which we have seen over robotics, and anyone who's been doing robotic surgery has not gone back to laparoscopic surgery. They all see the benefits. And the biggest problem after doing the robotic surgery with our system is, and the biggest criticism is that of cost, and when we have to balance the positive or negatives, because if I was given the choice that, okay, a robot is going to cost the same as laparoscopic surgery, I would do all my surgeries robotically. And this is too expensive for patients. Hospitals have a hard time recovering the cost. And this robot, which costs about 18 crores to set up and a recurrent cost of 1 lakh surgery, is not affordable by most hospitals, not just in India, but across the world. So when Dr. Srivastava says we go global, it's actually going to help the entire planet, not just India. And this cost graph which is there, this has to be shortened. And we all remember technology when it moves. This is the mobile phone. This is my first mobile phone in 1997, where I had to pay 14 rupees just to receive a phone call. And today, the most benefited person in my colony is the vegetable seller who sits there with the mobile phone. This is my maid who comes to my house, and she actually has 2 phones. She says, sir, when there is anything urgent, please call me on the other phone. So the cost does come down. It requires people who can entrepreneur. So we have a lot of new systems which have come. Just click. Okay, next. Just put select. Okay, well, that's fine. It's okay. Don't do anything. So these are videos of certain systems. That's a Medtronic system. That's an American system, Transcentrix. This is a British system, which is our Versius. And the last one, which video we have already seen, is that from the SSI robotic system. And there, the biggest advantage is that a lot of feedback has gone in, and a lot of things that we could not do in our regular robot is possible to do there. Yeah. So this made in India, it's time for this to come. And we are all very proud of Dr. Srivastava for having introduced this and to bring this to affordability. Now, something which we don't know, like Dr. Srivastava mentioned, this is going to cost 5 crores or 7 crores. People can ask, oh my God, surgery costing that much. Very few people here know how much does it take to repair, say, a road. To repair a road, 1 kilometer of road to be repaired, a 4-lane road, costs about 7 to 8 crores. So I'm not saying that the government should not repair roads, but all I'm saying is that, you know, in parallel, when you're talking about roads which are important for the country, similarly, health is also very important for the country, and the cost in the wider perspective is not such a big deal. So the new technology is here to stay. We should not be left behind. Rational and effective utilization should be there, and reduction of cost will help a larger population to reap the benefits of this technology, like we have seen with the mobile phone and internet. So yes, the world needs a cheaper robotic system. The various engineers and doctors and various technologies have to come together, and something like a Make in India, Made in India is a wonderful concept, and I wish all the best for the success of this program, and hopefully sometime in the future we'll be meeting again and talking about how this has changed the global perspective of robotic surgery. Thank you.
So I really hope this has been a memorable experience. I think it's a very important day, not only for all of us gathered here, but for the country. And with that, I'd like to thank all of you for joining us today. And any questions you might have, we have 2 microphones set up, so please utilize those. And for any of our esteemed surgeons here, any questions, please feel free to ask. Thank you.
So I would like to know if anybody has any particular questions in mind that you would like to address to our esteemed guests out here. So I would request you all to be on the stage so that media can interact with you.
Sushmita Panda from financialexpress.com.
And your question was initially?
So now that the first system has been installed, for starters, what will be the procedures that will be performed?
What procedure I will perform?
For the
Initial, okay. Being in a cancer center, I don't get benign cases. Benign and malignant. Non-cancerous is benign. Like laparoscopy, it goes into lap chole. Cholecystectomy is benign surgery. But for a cancer person, the person who is in oncology, pure oncology setup, for him learning laparoscopy is a big deal, because he cannot learn on benign, he does not have access to the benign cases, and just putting laparoscope on a cancer is a very dangerous task. You actually compromise the outcome. But with the robot, it is not there. A robot works very well in a cancer situation, and it actually, if you see Da Vinci, it has worked with the prostate cancer. And in my hospital, which is exclusive cancer center, we get only cancer patients. And I am a uro-oncologist. I do uro cancer like kidney, bladder, prostate, and then I do some gynae cancer also. So I'll be using in cancer involving the prostate, bladder, kidney, uterus, and the cervix. These will be my cases. But initially I'll do for the prostate and the bladder.
अंकुर सक्सेना फ्रॉम TV9 भारतवर्ष. मेरा क्वेश्चन है कि जैसे कि रोबोटिक सर्जरी है, हमारे इंडिया में लोग कोविड की वैक्सीन लेने में भी ना सर आनाकानी कर रहे हैं. बहुत से लोग, किसी ने फर्स्ट ले ली, जबरदस्ती ले ली, किसी ने रजिस्ट्रेशन करा लिया, नहीं ली, किसी ने सेकंड नहीं ली. तो एक डॉक्टर से तो ट्रीटमेंट कराने में तो उन्हें दिक्कत हो रही है. फिर ये रोबोटिक के लिए किस तरीके से आप लोग मनाएंगे उन्हें कि हम कन्विंस करें इस तरीके से कि हाँ हमारा रिजल्ट ठीक रहेगा?
ये एक सेइंग है, इंडिया में अगर आप कुछ लेके आते हैं और रूल बनाते हैं ये लेना ही पड़ेगा, तो मैक्सिमम हल्ला मचेगा, नहीं चाहिए. अगर आप बोलेंगे हमने कुछ नया चीज लाए हैं बट ये इंडिया के लिए नहीं है, अगर इंडिया से बाहर से जो वेस्टर्न आ रहे हैं उनके लिए है, हल्ला मच के क्यून में खड़े करके लेते हैं लोग. तो इंडिया में ऐसा है कि कुछ भी चीज सस्पिशन फ्री मिल रहा है, लेना ही नहीं है, कुछ तो गलत है उसमें देने वाला है. इजीली कोई फिलैंथ्रोपी कर रहा है, कुछ तो घोटाला है. अगर बोलेंगे बहुत एक्सपेंसिव है, बहुत बेस्ट है, बट आपके लिए नहीं है, आप मिनिस्टर है, नहीं दे सकते, नहीं है तो बाहर. तो ये सब हम 12 साल पहले से ही जाके गए. देखो 12 साल से रोबोट चालू हुआ तो लोग बोले रोबोट है, रजनीकांत का रोबोट आएगा, आप चाय पियेंगे, डॉक्टर रोबोट करेगा, कुछ होगा आपके ऊपर. लोगों को आइडिया नहीं कि रोबोट ऑपरेशन नहीं करेगा. रोबोट एक कंप्यूटराइज जर्मियन है, अल्टीमेटली सर्जन है. सी अगर आप बोइंग में जा रहे हैं तो अच्छा फ्लाइट है, इसका मतलब नहीं कि पायलटलेस नहीं चलने वाला है. तो ये जर्नी ऑलरेडी 11 ईयर से हो गया इंडिया में. अभी स्टोरी उल्टा हो गया है, जिसको रोबोट जरूरत नहीं हो आके बोलता है पेपर लेके रोबोट कर रहे हैं तो करेंगे, नहीं तो वापस जाएंगे. हमें बोलना पड़ता है इसमें नहीं है. लकीली जो 10-15 साल से रोबोटिक का बेनिफिट लोगों को पता चल गया, सी जैसे आप महसूस करेंगे उसके बाद पता चलेगा, कर करके महसूस किया. अभी उल्टा है, मोर डेंजरस है, जिसका रोबोट जरूरत नहीं रोबोट चाहिए, वो फेज में हम पहुंच गए. उसमें डॉक्टर सर्जन को एथिकल ग्राउंड रखना है कि अपना सिर के ऊपर रखना कि जिसमें चाहिए जिसमें नहीं है. तो अभी टोटली डिफरेंट है. अभी लोग रोबोट मांग रहे, कॉस्ट बोलते हैं तो आधा लोग निकल जाते हैं, और इंश्योरेंस अभी पिछले साल तक कवर नहीं हो रहा था तो और आधा लोग निकल जाते थे, तो खाली रिच लोग लेते थे. तो अभी लकीली वी आर इन ए डिफरेंट फील्ड. मगर कोई भी नया चीज आएगा हमेशा फर्स्ट क्या आएगा, रेजिस्टेंस आएगा, दूसरा उसका बुरा करेंगे, थर्ड जब वो पास होगा मैच्योर होगा आएंगे. इंडिया वो फेज पे अभी पहुंच गया लगभग. तो अभी डॉक्टर का, हॉस्पिटल का रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है कि राइट ट्रीटमेंट राइट पेशेंट को राइट जगह पे दे दे विथ अफोर्डेबिलिटी. सो दैट इज वेयर अभी वी आर इन दैट फेज नाउ.
आई थिंक मे ऐड, आपने जो पूछा है, क्योंकि जो चीज़ अवेलेबल नहीं होती है, अब हमने जो बताया अभी पहले कि सिर्फ 100 से कम सिस्टम है, 70,000 अस्पताल हैं हिंदुस्तान में. तो एक तो वो अवेलेबल नहीं है, तो जिनके पास नहीं है रोबोट वो बोलेंगे कि आपको ज़रूरत नहीं है कराने की, क्योंकि हम लोग कर देंगे। पर जैसे अवेलेबल हो जाएगा, जैसे यहाँ बैठे हैं सर्जन्स, इनके पास आते हैं बहुत पेशेंट। मैं अमेरिका में था, बहुत पेशेंट आते थे, और कई बार वो जो डॉक्टर्स नहीं करते हैं वो बोलते हैं अरे रोबोट से मत कराओ, मशीन ऑपरेट करेगी तुम पे। सब गलत, ये गलत फहमी फैला रखी है, क्योंकि ये रोबोट जो है सिर्फ इंस्ट्रूमेंट है। हम लोग करते हैं सर्जरी, हम लोग हाथ नहीं रखें, नहीं देखें, वो पड़ा रहता है। तो ये जो गलत फहमी है धीरे धीरे जा रही है, और इसको है ना टाइम लगता है चेंज करने के लिए। पर ये प्रॉब्लम है कि अगर अवेलेबल नहीं है तो अगर चाहें भी तो कहाँ जाएं। तो आई थिंक वो धीरे धीरे चेंज होगा, एंड होप हम लोग जो कर रहे हैं उससे थोड़ी ना ज़्यादा तेज़ी से ये पहुँचेगा।
So please do tell us your name and the publication that you're from.
मैं प्रमोद हूँ, एनडीटीवी से। मेरा एक सवाल है कॉस्टिंग और टाइमिंग को लेकर।
Can you put the microphone down just a little bit? We could not hear you.
मैं प्रमोद एनडीटीवी से हूँ। मेरा सवाल कॉस्टिंग और टाइमिंग को लेकर है। डॉक्टर साहब, आप लोग एक आम आदमी को यह कैसे समझाएंगे कि यह सर्जरी जो रोबोटिक सर्जरी है यह सुविधापूर्ण है उनके लिए, टाइमिंग को लेकर और कॉस्टिंग को लेकर?
टाइमिंग से क्या आपका वो है? टाइमिंग का मतलब
आपको जो पुरानी तरीके हैं सर्जरी के, उसमें जो पेशेंट की रिकवरिंग की जो टाइमिंग है।
अच्छा, रिकवरी के टाइमिंग। देखिए, ऐसा है कि इसमें जैसा डॉक्टर श्रीवास्तव ने भी बोला, जैसे जैसे टेक्नोलॉजी स्प्रेड होगी लोगों को जानकारी बढ़ती जाएगी। मुझे याद है जब मैं बच्चा था तो कंप्यूटर आए थे, तो बहुत रेजिस्टेंस था कि नहीं ये टाइपराइटर्स सही होते हैं, कंप्यूटर से तो गलत हो जाएगा, ये हो जाएगा। पर आज के दिन आप देख रहे हैं सब जगह कंप्यूटर्स ही यूज हो रहे हैं, टाइपराइटर्स बहुत कम यूज हो रहे हैं। जो कॉस्टिंग की बात है उसमें ये होता है कि कुछ सर्जरी होते हैं जो कि बड़े कॉम्प्लेक्स होते हैं, जिसमें कॉस्टिंग वैसे ही काफ़ी हाई होता है। तो हम नॉर्मल छोटी सर्जरीज के लिए नहीं यूज़ करेंगे, जैसे डॉक्टर सोमशेखर ने बोला है, गलत इस्तेमाल नहीं करना है। तो जो सर्जरी वैसे ही काफ़ी कॉम्प्लेक्स और एक्सपेंसिव है, उसमें जब हम रोबोट को ऐड करते हैं, मान लीजिए कि अगर हमारी कोई सर्जरी वैसे ही 4-5 लाख की कैंसर की सर्जरी हो रही है, उसमें जब हम 1 लाख इसका ऐड करते हैं और हम ये समझाते हैं कि इससे रिकवरी जल्दी होती है, आपका पेट नहीं कटता है, ब्लीडिंग कम होती है, कॉम्प्लिकेशन के चांसेस कम होते हैं, तो पेशेंट हमारी बात समझते हैं। लेकिन सबसे ज़रूरी होता है कि पहले एज सर्जन हम खुद में विश्वास रखें कि हाँ, इस टेक्नोलॉजी से मैं इस पेशेंट के लिए बेहतर इलाज कर सकता हूँ। और अगर उसका जवाब है हाँ मैं बेहतर इलाज कर सकता हूँ, तो पेशेंट को समझने में देर नहीं लगती कि जो हम बोल रहे हैं वो सही है उनके लिए।
मेडिकल फ्रेटर्निटी के बीच में इसको और आगे बढ़ाने की आप लोगों की योजना क्या है?
देखिए, इसमें सबसे ज़रूरी, जैसे कि अभी हम ये लॉन्च कर रहे हैं, सबसे ज़रूरी है कि इसका कॉस्ट कम होए, इसका कॉस्ट कम होए। दूसरा, जिन लोगों ने अभी तक सर्जरी की है, जैसे डॉक्टर सोमशेखर है, मैं हूँ, डॉक्टर रावल, हमारी ये रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है कि अभी तक के हम अपने रिजल्ट्स को एनालाइज करें, उसमें देखें क्या फ़ायदे हैं, क्या नुकसान है, और जिसको हम ऑडिट कहते हैं। और ऑडिट करके ही रिसर्च होता है और चीज़ें आगे बढ़ती हैं और नई नई चीज़ें आती हैं, इसमें इम्प्रूवमेंट होती है। जैसे पुराना रोबोट जिसका मैं वीडियो दिखा रहा था, नहीं दिखा पाया, उसमें यह है कि एक रोबोट होता है, उसके खूब सारे आर्म्स आते हैं जिससे सर्जरी होती है। अभी जो नया रोबोट बन रहा है उसमें सारे आर्म्स अलग हैं। तो अगर हम चाहें किसी पेशेंट में सिर्फ 2 आर्म की ज़रूरत है, 2 ही इंस्ट्रूमेंट की ज़रूरत है, तो सिर्फ हम 2 यूज़ करेंगे और उसका खर्चा उतना ही होगा, हमें 6 लगाने की ज़रूरत नहीं है। जबकि इस तरह की नए नए रिसर्च वो फीडबैक होता है, जो कि हमारी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है कि अभी के एक्सपीरियंस से हम फीडबैक दें मैन्युफैक्चरर्स को, डॉक्टर श्रीवास्तव जैसे लोगों, एंटरप्रेन्योर्स को, कि अभी हमें इस चीज़ की ज़रूरत है, मरीज़ को इस चीज़ की ज़रूरत है, देश को इस चीज़ की ज़रूरत है, विश्व को इस चीज़ की ज़रूरत है। तो उस तरह से चीज़ें आगे बढ़ेंगी।
डॉक्टर सोमशेखर ने अभी सर थोड़ी देर पहले कहा था कि इंश्योरेंस वगैरह में इसका अभी कॉस्टिंग नहीं आ रहा है, आ गया है।
अभी 2010 से इंश्योरेंस पहले 5 साल यानी ईयर 2010 टू 2015 इंश्योरेंस ना रोबोट का पैसा दे रहा था, ना कि ओपन सर्जरी कर जितना आएगा उतना भी नहीं दे रहा था। तो बाद में उसका बेनिफिट पता चला तो इंश्योरेंस क्या करना चालू हुआ 5 साल पहले, आपका लैप्रोस्कोपी का कॉस्ट जितना है उतना लेंगे, ऊपर से जो आएगा रोबोट का वो आपको भरना है, वो हुआ। अभी IRDA जो बॉडी है जो गवर्न करता है, 2 साल पहले एक सर्कुलर निकाला सब इंश्योरेंस को।
अगर ये पेशेंट को रोबोटिक सर्जरी इंडिकेटेड है और डॉक्टर मानते हैं कि इसका रिजल्ट अच्छा होगा, तो इंश्योरेंस कंपनी रिजेक्ट नहीं कर सकती। इसकी वजह से जो 5 साल में हमने जो नंबर किया वो 2 साल में सडनली बर्स्ट हो गया, अभी 10 टाइम्स बड़ा हो गया। और आपने एक और चीज बोला, अभी ऐसा टेक्नोलॉजी अवेलेबल है कि हम क्या करने वाले हैं समाज में फर्क पड़े। सी हम जो भी डॉक्टर से ऑल्सो वी आर इन एसोसिएशन, यानी लाइक मैं कुछ एसोसिएशन जो मेडिकल प्रेसिडेंट हूँ, जैसे अरुण प्रसाद, सब लोग हैं। हमने 3 प्रॉन्ग अप्रोच रखा है। एक, पेशेंट्स लोगों को बताइए कि रोबोट क्या है, उनका गलत फहमी निकाल दे, बेनिफिट क्या है समझा दे। मोर देन पेशेंट, हमने जो देखा है पेशेंट बहुत जल्दी कन्विंस हो जाता है, जो डॉक्टर के पास ये टेक्नोलॉजी नहीं है वही कन्विंस नहीं होते। तो एसोसिएशन के जरिए, डॉक्टर के जरिए साइंटिफिकली विथ एविडेंस इंडियन पेशेंट में 1000 पेशेंट किया क्या रिजल्ट है, तो डॉक्टर को एजुकेट करने का चल रहा है। और दूसरा, तीसरा, यहां से और क्या इनोवेशन हो सकता है और कम कॉस्ट क्या हो सकता है। इंडियन पेशेंट डिफरेंट है। सी हमारा इंडियन पेशेंट का सेंट्रल ओबेसिटी है, हाइट कम होता है, ब्रॉड पेट, तो हमारा इंडियन पेशेंट के लिए कैसे मॉडिफिकेशन हो। तो हम बोलते हैं 3 प्रॉन्ग अप्रोच। पेशेंट्स को एजुकेट करना बाय आर्टिकल, बाय वीडियोस, बात करना, आप लोग अभी जो प्रेस मीडिया है आप पहुंचाएंगे, वो एक। डॉक्टर्स लोगों को बताना साइंटिफिकली, आप चूज करो 2 आपके पास है जो है। तीसरा, अभी से आगे क्या करना है, ये हमारा अभी प्लान है थ्रू द वेरियस एसोसिएशन। सो अभी हम चालू कर रहे हैं।
थैंक यू सर। मेरा नाम आयुष सिन्हा है और मैं जी मीडिया से हूँ। अभी डॉक्टर सोम जब बता रहे थे आप, तो आपने क्रांति की बात की कि इससे क्रांति आने वाली है। सो क्रांति जो होती है उसका एक लक्ष्य होता है। लक्ष्य होता है कि गांव तक और लोगों तक अपने लक्ष्य को पहुंचाना, और जिस चीज के लिए क्रांति की जा रही है, जिस मुहिम के लिए क्रांति की जा रही है, वो वहां तक पहुंचे। तो आप लोग का क्या लक्ष्य है? जैसे कि गांव, जैसे कि यहाँ पे राजीव गांधी कैंसर हॉस्पिटल में आपने इंस्टॉल किया पहला इक्विपमेंट्स, इट्स वेरी गुड, बट इसके बाद नेक्स्ट स्टेप क्या होगा? आपने कहा कि इसका प्लान तैयार है आपके पास, लेकिन क्या ये बनारस के कैंसर अस्पताल तक भी पहुंच पाएगा या फिर उससे अछूता रह जाएगा?
इसका मैं पहले लेके वास्तव सर को बता देता हूं। कोई भी क्रांति का एक मकसद होता है, बोलते हैं क्विट इंडिया इंडिपेंडेंस, ठीक है? तो इसका क्या है, हर इंडियन पेशेंट को कास्ट, क्रीड, मनी, पैसा, वो कहां से आने वाले, कहां रहने वाले है, इसको नजरअंदाज की, डोंट कीप इट इन माइंड, उसको नजर किए बिना उनको रोबोट पहुंचाना। पेशेंट को मेट्रो में नहीं बुलाना। आप समझते इंडिया का पर कैपिटा में, मानो यूपी, बिहार, कर्नाटका, छत्तीसगढ़, इधर एक पेशेंट को आप बोलेंगे आ जाओ मेन प्लेस में, वो आने का जाने का जो रास्ता का खर्चा है, मेट्रो में रहना है, वो ट्रीटमेंट से भी ज्यादा होता है उनके लिए। तो पेशेंट को मेट्रो में नहीं लाना है, ट्रीटमेंट को पेशेंट के पास ले जाना है, 2nd, 3rd टायर सिटी में ले जाना है, मेडिकल कॉलेजेस में ले जाना है, डिस्ट्रिक्ट हॉस्पिटल में ले जाना है। अभी इंडिया में 5G लॉन्च हो रहा है। कितना लोगों को पता है ये रोबोट्स में, यहाँ पे मैं बेंगलुरु में या दिल्ली में बैठ गए, रोबोट वहां रहेगा, ऑपरेट कर सकते हैं। तो क्रांति का मकसद ये है टू गिव right minimal access robotic surgery to every eligible Indian patient irrespective of their social status, caste, creed, place, what they are, and to see that healthcare reaches them and don't call them to us at highly affordable cost irrespective of where, what they are.
Sir, जी सर, आप
Can I add some things? मैं हिंदी में, इंग्लिश में बोल दूं चलेगा?
सर आप जैसे बोलिए, जैसा चलता।
See, every revolution starts with an idea, with a leader, with a group of people who believe in that change. And that's why it is called revolution. Varna to chalta rahega, as he said, evolution. So it is a drastic shift. That means you must be convinced. One, it is needed. And then, what are we going to do about it? And so, it takes time to achieve this final success. Okay, so when you are talking about the villages, and also that is the vision, that it must go everywhere, and utilizing the technology, the high-speed connectivity, the 5G, it will take time, and the example will be simple. Right now, for let's say for us to do telesurgery, whereby it is already proven, I can sit in Delhi and operate in Bombay. There will be another system required. I will have a control here. and I will have the 3D image with the high-speed connection in real time. So there is no delay, okay? And I can do all these things sitting here. Now what is needed? You need power, you need connectivity at a very high speed level. So it will at a point must become partly government responsibility to be able to provide the infrastructure. Can we do telesurgery today? Absolutely. Do we have the infrastructure? No. Okay, so it will take time. Also, please understand, when we launch something, why did we launch with Dr. Rawal at Rajiv Gandhi in Delhi? Okay, it's kind of paradoxical in the sense of this decentralizing excellence. But you start out with someone who knows how to use the machine, who has experience. Because otherwise, if surgeon could not do, you know what they're going to say? ये machine की वजह से गड़बड़ हो गई. Okay, so we don't want that. It is very important that the technology in right hands must be proven first of all. We don't want the people who do not know experimenting with it, and they may actually harm the patient. So initial goal is that we go to the leaders who have experience, who are involved in teaching training, so that gradually it will go. And then, yes, with the help of the government, in fact, one of the things that I wanted to mention is India is the only country that has almost insured 1 billion people through Ayushman scheme, Ayushman Bharat scheme. And one of the things that we will approach at a point in time, that why don't you make that available also, because those are generally relatively poor people. They should get the same care because it is a 5 lakh coverage. Absolutely, robotic surgery with our system can be done. But please understand, it will take time. You know, Hindustan में गांधी जी लड़े, कितना time लगा finally to get the liberation. So these things take time. And one thing I will say in the medical world, and it's a proven statistic, any new thing, there is a 17-year cycle time for it to be adopted by the masses. It doesn't matter what you take, whether you take laparoscopy, you take angioplasty, you take heart surgery. That's how in medical world it occurs. Because we are dealing with patients' lives. The faith must build up. I think as there was a question, how do the patients trust? So these things, please understand, we will change it and we will achieve our original goal of decentralizing excellence.
देखिए हर हॉस्पिटल में ज़रूरत नहीं है रोबोट की, और जैसा मैं अपने स्लाइड में भी कह रहा, हमें इसका एक रैशनल यूटिलाइजेशन करना है. हर पेशेंट को रोबोटिक सर्जरी की ज़रूरत नहीं है. तो जैसे अभी दिल्ली एनसीआर में 12 रोबोट हैं, इसकी बिल्कुल ज़रूरत नहीं है. इसको हमें स्प्रेड आउट करना है और रेफरल सेंटर बनेगा, जो कि मान लीजिए जैसे आपने बनारस की बात की, तो बनारस में अगर होता है तो उसके 100 किलोमीटर 200 किलोमीटर के आसपास से सारे पेशेंट उस जगह आएंगे जिनको हम ये रोबोटिक सर्जरी का फ़ायदा दे पाए. इसके लिए सरकार का इन्वॉल्व होना बड़ा ज़रूरी है. जैसा मैं कह रहा था कि 7 करोड़ लगते हैं 1 किलोमीटर रोड को रिपेयर करने के लिए. तो हम ये नहीं कह रहे हैं कि रोड आप मत रिपेयर करिए, हम ये कह रहे हैं कि 7 करोड़ आप अपने देश की जनता के लिए स्पेंड करिए, जिससे कि कॉम्प्लेक्स सर्जरी जैसे डॉक्टर रावल करते हैं, एक प्रोस्टेट कैंसर मान लीजिए एक बीमारी होती है, इसकी सर्जरी पहले नहीं होती थी क्योंकि ये संभव नहीं था. जब से रोबोट आया है प्रोस्टेट कैंसर की सर्जरी होने लगी है, बहुत ज़्यादा होने लगी है. किडनी में अगर कैंसर होता था तो हम पूरी किडनी निकाल के फेंक देते थे. अब रोबोट आने से हम सिर्फ 1/3 ऑफ द किडनी, हाफ किडनी निकाल के बाकी किडनी छोड़ सकते हैं. तो इस तरह से बहुत सारे प्रोग्रेस होते हैं. मैं बेरियाट्रिक सर्जरी करता हूँ. लेप्रोस्कोपी में हमें पेशेंट के 2 ऑपरेशन करने पड़ते थे क्योंकि उसका वजन मान लीजिए 250 किलो का है, तो एक बार में नहीं होता था. एक बार हम ऑपरेशन करते थे, फिर 1 साल बाद बुलाते थे सेकंड स्टेज करने के लिए. रोबोट से मैं दोनों ऑपरेशन एक ही स्टेज में कर पाता हूँ. तो धीरे धीरे जैसे जैसे इसके फायदे आएंगे, हमें ये सरकार के साथ लॉबी करना है. जैसा डॉक्टर सोमशेखर कह रहे हैं, हमारे एसोसिएशन है, एसोसिएशन को ये साबित करना है साइंटिफिकली कि हाँ इससे लोगों को फायदा होता है, और वो रोड मैप हमें देना है और सरकार को कन्विंस करना है कि ये जनता के लिए फायदेमंद है.
सर एक और छोटा सा सवाल है मेरा. सवाल ये है कि अभी डॉक्टर सोम ने ही बताया कि चीपर्स, जो चीप मतलब कम पैसे वाले सामान होते हैं, उनको लेकर के ये धारणा बनी रहती है कि ये अच्छा नहीं होगा, कुछ ना कुछ झोल है. तो इस तरह की धारणा जो है इसके लिए क्या आपने प्लान बनाया है कि लोगों तक, गरीबों तक इसकी सुविधा, इस सर्जरी की सुविधा आसानी से पहुंच पाए? कोई ऐसा प्लान है आपके पास सर?
एब्सोल्युटली। देखिए, दुनिया में कोई भी चीज़ कॉस्ट दो वजह से होता है। वो बनाने के लिए भी कॉस्ट बहुत है। मानो आप गोल्ड ले लो, गोल्ड को वर्ल्ड में कहीं पे भी बनाओ, वो गोल्ड तो मिलना ही पड़ेगा धरती से। वो कॉस्ट मेन बदलेगा नहीं है, जो बनाने का कॉस्ट है वही बदल सकते हैं, जो मिनिस्कल है। आई विल गिव वन एग्जांपल। ये अभी BMW कार सब लेते हैं हम, क्यों वो एक्सपेंसिव है? आपको पता है उसका कॉस्ट 1/3 है, राइट? वो जो इंपोर्ट ड्यूटी है वो 2/3 है। तो ये जानना जरूरी है कोई भी चीज क्यों महंगा है। सच्ची उसको बनाने में, स्पेस रॉकेट बनाने में बहुत महंगा है, बिकॉज उसका आइटम ऐसा है, तो ठीक है। अभी जो रोबोट का कॉस्ट, शिवा सर ने एक स्लाइड दिखाया, 40% खाली, क्योंकि इट इज नॉट मेक इन इंडिया, बाहर से आएगा, इंपोर्ट एक्सपोर्ट, बाहर से आने से वो खाली बॉर्डर क्रॉस करने से 40% ड्यूटी लग गया। ये एक सर्जरी में 4 इंस्ट्रूमेंट चाहिए, वो इंस्ट्रूमेंट बाहर से आएगा, वो इंस्ट्रूमेंट बॉर्डर क्रॉस करेगा, 10,000 बड़ा, वो कौन ले रहे हैं? पेशेंट। अभी इसका एडवांटेज क्या है? एवरीथिंग मेड इन इंडियन बाउंड्री बाय इंडियन साइंटिस्ट। उनका ऑफिस में जाएंगे तो IIT का, इंडियन यंगस्टर सब बना। तो क्या हो गया, जस्ट इंडिया में बनाने से 45% कॉस्ट चला गया। क्वालिटी कॉम्प्रोमाइज करके क्वालिटी, पैसा कम नहीं किया। तो ये अगर लोगों को पता चलेगा क्यों कॉस्ट कम हुआ, क्वालिटी सेम है, मेड इन इंडिया है, तो हमारा इंडिया का जो पॉलिसी है टैक्सेशन, वी शुड बी राइट टू प्रमोट राइट, तो देन पीपल विल अंडरस्टैंड, अच्छा ये सस्ता इसलिए नहीं है कि कट अराउंड द कॉर्नर है, ये यहाँ बन गया इसलिए सस्ता है। जो चीज़ बाहर से आएगा और रेगुलरली बाहर से मेंटेनेंस के लिए डिपेंडेंट है, परमानेंट गुलाम रहेंगे, उसका कॉस्ट अलग रहेगा। यहीं पे जो बनेगा क्वालिटी बेटर भी हो सकता है, कॉस्ट भी कम है। सो दिस इज व्हाट हैज टू पर्कुलेट। उसका रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी हमारा भी है, हॉस्पिटल की है, पेशेंट का भी है।
SSI Mantra.